Welcome to X's and Ro, the seemingly weekly video mailbag series where we take questions online and we answer them to the best of our ability. First question's coming in from Hurricane Marsh, at Hurricane Marsh. Marsh, great guy. Great guy. You can follow him on Twitter. He's such a fun follow, knows the game, Force Up podcast, and a fellow contributor like myself at the State of the U. So he asks, is it time to start Zion at left tackle over John Campbell? Now, I just want to go ahead and use this as the backdrop because we're going to use a couple clips that's not going to portray in the most positive light. But when you consider last year, the University of Miami Hurricanes gave up 3.92 sacks a game. They were third to last in the country last year in sacks given up. This year, they are at 2.4. So almost, that's a very big improvement from a year ago when you consider they gave up 52 sacks, and they're not even remotely close to that pace as of right now. Plus, last 2 weeks, very hard defenses, NFL-style caliber defenses as far as some of the defensive end and defensive line talent that you got. So let's go to the tape, Marsh. And I know what you're getting at, right? Because here's John Campbell at the bottom of the screen. It's a 3rd and 10. Pitt can go ahead and pin its ears and come after D'Eriq King. This should have been a sack, and this should have been a sack on D'Eriq King. John Campbell gets beat outside rather cleanly. D'Eriq has to do everything he can as a Houdini, escape the rush, and go ahead and avoid the sack. So even though that wasn't a sack, that should have been. Now you're asking for a different option, and then here you go. This is the second play of the game, Marsh, and I caught this. This is Zion over here, and he just gets thrown to the ground way too easy. Now, I'm not trying to pick on them. I'm just trying to show you the offensive line has improved. But I don't think this is like a clear-cut one over the other. They both do really, really good things on film. They both do really, really not so good things on film. So this is my Cuban from another mother, also Club OBB member, Tony Valdez at Tony Dammy 1627. Great question. Manny mentioned that the tall defensive ends of Pitt bothered King a bit, even led to an INT. Also mentioned UVA having taller defensive ends. What is something that could be done to help King with that? And then the follow-up question, favorite Star Wars video game of all time. Anytime you put, like, Star Wars bait, I'm just going to have to bite, and I have to answer these questions. But in this case, let's go to the film, and I'm going to show you back-to-back plays. Pay attention to this defensive end right now. Just watch his technique, all right? And I'm going to tell you why they're doing it, okay? He comes in. He's going to a purposeful stalemate. He gets his left arm in, and he's essentially looking on the inside shoulder of John Campbell right now, right? And why is he doing that? Because he's got one mission, and now he's back to the outside. You can see he's not really trying to penetrate. He's trying to play for the tip ball. In this case, this was a great RPO, great in-breaking RPO completion. Now watch the very next play and look at the same technique. So on earlier downs, this is what Narduzzi was telling his guys. A lot of the times, listen, we are going to go ahead and play for this RPO. We're going to play for this quick pass. The last play, we basically had the defensive end look out. The throw went in. But this time, same concept. He comes to a standstill. He's playing for this RPO quick pass. The hand is right underneath John Campbell's throat right now. His right hand is clear. And then next thing you know, he tips the ball, and that's what Manny said even led to an INT. So what can you do? Just got to talk at the sideline. No teams are playing you this way, and maybe as an offensive line, maybe deliver the blow instead of receiving the blow. In both of those cases, you received. But it's like a cat and mouse game, Tony, because when I try to be the aggressor, maybe they go ahead and swim me easy. So it's just one of those things. You just got to have a feel, and you got to know how teams are trying to play you. In this case, Narduzzi was purposefully telling his guys not to penetrate, get to a standstill, get your hand up, and let's see if we can get one of these plays. All right, favorite Star Wars game of all time? I got to say Force Unleashed 1. Force Unleashed 2 was bad, but just great story, Star Killer, just awesome game. I mean, starting off as Darth Vader, going to Kashyyyk and, finding the young Padawan Jedi and, going ahead and just, going through Kashyyyk and just as Darth Vader slaughtered. Just great game overall, great story mode. So many cool parts, even when Proxy turns into Darth Maul. So, yeah, Force Unleashed 1 for me. And then close second, X-Wing, the original one that was like on a DOS disc. That like started it for me. I wanted a computer just because of that game. So this one's coming in via the Club OBB. This is Zakalachin State at OBB Field. He is definitely a Club OBB OG original. And he asks, Ro, who's your favorite of the UVA QB by committee? And I will say right here, Keaton Thompson. He's not going to be your throwing variety, and I don't think Stone just doesn't have the capability. And listen, he's technically the backup quarterback, so they're doing it by quarterback by committee, so they're in a rough spot. But I'm not impressed at all by Stone's vertical passing ability whatsoever. I think this is a capability where the University of Miami cornerbacks could have a really big day. But you got to appreciate Keaton Thompson, even though he wears a funky number. He's 99. Just his ability to go ahead and escape. I mean, this is something I could see that the University of Miami could have potential problems with. Some of the reruns of Jordan Travis, even though you knew he was going to go ahead and run the ball for Florida State, he still was successfully able to do so. So if there's something, anytime you see number 99 coming in this week, you just got to be on alert. This kid's looking to run. So this one is also going to come in from a Club OBB chat member. This is from Simon. What can Lashley do to scheme open the young receivers to build their confidence? Is there a look that King should look for to go over the top? Great question. And let me go ahead and show you. I know this is Mark Pope at the top of the screen, but in terms of schematics, you don't really have to do much right now because of the way teams are playing you. So the question, I'm going to flip it on its head, and I'm going to ask the question to you. All right? In this case, you're going to see right here, they have a committed effort to go ahead and combat this. This is along the goal line. You basically have 7 in-the-box defenders, right? When you consider this safety right here, here's your 2 linebackers, and here's your 4. Well, at the top of the screen, and I know he's not young per se because you asked about young receivers and how to scheme them open, and this is exactly where you need to go ahead and focus because you could just put anybody here. But this is a one-on-one with Mark Pope out here on the outside. So how I'm going to flip it on his head, what does Lashley have to do? He doesn't have to do much. What can his receivers do for him? Can you win this one-on-one matchup? I mean, you have a lot of cushion right here. You have so many different options. If you could just beat your guy one-on-one, that's all really Miami is missing for me offensively to get a couple big chunk yards downfield. Now, they did scheme some of this open. They are just trying to go ahead and take some of the vertical routes. Last week was a little unfortunate against Pitt because you had Wiggins drop a 50-50 ball that I felt. You also had Smith. He had an obvious pass interference that wasn't called. But they did get about 2 other pass interference calls. I thought the touch was there a lot better. And if you're not getting a completion downfield, at least you're getting the pass interferences. So scheme-wise, I'm not really too concerned about that. It's just the way teams have been playing you by bracketing tight ends, by going cover 0. You just simply need to find guys at the University of Miami that are going to win the one-on-one matchups outside. Period. End of story. So the man, the myth, the legend himself, Miami Mando at Lakers Canes 305. The guy, the father of 3, the Duncan run runner, the guy who's going to cut the line every Sunday on his Publix run. Yes, that guy. Well, he asks a question. Would love your take on our wideouts, and are they doing enough off the line of scrimmage to beat man coverage? We talk about 50-50 balls downfield, and a lot of times you have these 50-50 matchups at the line of scrimmage. And in this case, I just want to give you an example. This was more about the 50-50 downfield and not the hand battle up front. This is Wiggins. We got to go back to Clemson, which I thought Clemson's DBs were superior. They were very good at getting in phase, getting their heads turned around. They made things very problematic. But, Mando, in this case, this wasn't a case of not beating your jam. Wiggins does a really good job. The hand tries to come out for the Clemson DB. He loses it. And at this point, good job. You're by him. You have a step. Now, at this juncture right here, you got to just win the 50-50 ball up top, over the top. And we've just been missing these all year. I mean, this is something that I can't recall through 5 games of the season, us winning one of these balls when other offenses routinely do. And if you're going to beat teams like this, because, listen, this Clemson cornerback was beat initially off the line of scrimmage, but he had the good recovery, makeup speed. He's in phase. His head's turned back to the ball, and you couldn't complete this. Ball was a little short on the inside. That's football. But in this case, I don't think it's just about us. The reason why we're not completing balls downfield is because we're not winning our jams. That was a case where we actually did win the jam, but we just need to make those plays downfield, Mando. So this question's coming in strong from T-Hart at Tyler Hartley09 on Twitter. He asks, is it just me or is the run game very vanilla? And I haven't dug into film, but I don't feel like called runs have much creativity. I was hoping it looked more like Auburn when Lashley was there just because the creativity in the run game created so many explosive plays. Now, coming from the week before, I will admit that I asked for some more run game diversification. But I think we got it this week, and you just got to open up your perspective a little and look at a couple examples on film, and maybe I can change your mind. This is example 1. Now, this is technically a pass. And you're like, well, Ro, you're crazy. I'm asking about run game diversification, and you're showing me pass. From the very beginning, I asked Canes fans, you got to open your perspective and realize that the RPO quick perimeter pass game is an extension of the run game, and this is what I mean. You're going to go ahead and motion the back out of the backfield, which I think is a creative wrinkle right there. A lot of times Miami has done this and ran a quarterback draw or power read, so you're building off things in this capacity, and it's just a quick toss. That is nothing more than a toss on the perimeter. So to me, that is an extension of the run game that I thought had a little bit of a creative wrinkle. Now, we lost the point of attack on our block with Will Mallory. This play doesn't go for anything much. However, that was some of the diversification. Now, let's go right here. To me, this is Auburn all day. This is an Auburn run. This is some quarterback power. You're going to come across the formation with an arc block. You see everybody leading. You're trying to go ahead and get numbers, and this is what you go ahead and get a positive gain for 5 yards. So once again, you brought up the Auburn comparison when I watched and went back and looked at a lot of Auburn film. That is consistently out of their playbook. And I'm going to go ahead and give you one more as far as a wrinkle, because I thought this was a very big wrinkle from the Miami Hurricanes. This was a new formation they didn't show this week. And they basically in the pistol back, they have 12 set personnel, and they have 2 tight ends, basically in the wingback variety, but a little bit more offset. They're still going to go ahead and run the quarterback zone read. You see De'Aaron King's eyes is picking up on this defensive end, but look what happens here. Good give. Got the linebacker to flow with some flow bait. He took some of the tight end flow bait, left a big vacant window in the A gap. Cam gets tripped up. If he doesn't, that's a big play against a very good rush defense this week. So hopefully those are a couple examples that maybe get you to say that we have diversified the run game from the Clemson week to this week. This question's coming in from Better Duck. Why can't the Canes run the ball for 4 yards on first down? Butter my corn. So this question's about tempo, and it's coming in from Stephen Puckett at SD Puckett on Twitter. And he asks, it seems the past few weeks we aren't running as much tempo when we needed it most. Is that just my perception? If true, do you attribute that to facing quality defenses that specifically tried to kill our rhythm? Okay, so yes, the first week against Clemson, hard to get into your tempo because a tempo offense is really going to be driven off your first down success rates. If you could get a successful play on first down, teams tend to get into this accelerated rhythm and they start pushing the pace. Clemson did a really, really good job stopping us on early downs, especially getting us in third and longs plenty of times. And at that point, Miami will routinely go to a check with me variety. They look over to the sideline, and it essentially slows them down. So even though tempo is a backbone and a backdrop of this offense, against good defenses, you're right. Facing quality defenses who try to take your tempo away, they will do so by being super aggressive and take what you like to do away on first and second downs. Now, it's not all bad because you got to go back because the tempo worked in Miami's favor this week because against Pitt, which I felt was a quality defense, top 5 in the land, they had a touchdown drive, 8 plays, 75 yards of 1 minute and 47 seconds. So 1 minute 47 seconds and 8 plays, you're still going ahead and operating at an accelerated pace. You just got to go back to a year ago. If you were running 8 plays, that was a 6-minute drive all day. And when you needed it most, and this is the thing that I was most impressed about in terms of the tempo and Rhett Lashley's ability to adjust last week, they had a 14-play, 65-yard, 7-minute and 11 drive. 7-minute and 11 drive. So the tempo worked in its favor when you did decide to slow it down last week. So I hope this answered your questions. We kind of gave you the side of, yes, they are getting taken away at times, but yes, you know what? Sometimes slowing it down is a good thing too.